So it's been a while then, but we are back with our beginner's guide for Marvel Future Revolution. We'll be having a look at the latest character, Magik. Now, in this video, to let you know what to expect in regards to what we'll be covering, we'll be starting off with an overview where I'll really talk about how she plays, so straight away you can get a good idea whether or not you're interested and you want to hear more. If you do, we'll then have a look at the potential that's available on her, that specific stat she can actually invest in. We have the specialisation up next. We'll then look at some of our more interesting skills. We'll check out the outfits available and I'll tell you which ones I recommend that you aim for on her. We then have battle badges and a mega card. We'll quickly talk about them, and then finishing up I'll have some initial build thoughts that I'll give at the end of the video as well. Now before we do jump in and break it all down, two things. One, if you find the video helpful, please do take time to hit a like, share and subscribe. And two, at the moment Magik seems to be exceptionally powerful. I think that will always be the case for new heroes because they'll do this so that people actually invest money and upgrade them. She may be nerfed at a later date. If that happens, I'll put a pinned post at the top if there's any major changes to how she actually plays. But let's jump in. Let's start off with the overview first. So the best initial description I can actually give for Magik, I would say that she has a mixture of the best elements of Captain America, Captain Marvel and Doctor Strange. Yes, she really is that powerful at the moment. Within her kit, she has knockdown. She's got skills where she can drag the enemy closer to her. She's got gap closers where she can teleport closer to the enemy, which is useful because she is primarily a melee character. She's got some stuns within her kit. She's got, I think it's around about 3 guard break skills that actually have the highest amount of guard break, so she's exceptionally good in that regard. She's got burn, slow, confuse and mutate as different status effects she can take. She can stop the enemy dodging for 3 seconds, which would be incredible in PvP against Spider-Man. She's got summons. She may have some iframes and need to do a little bit more testing in that, and then she's got her ultimate ability as well that offers a huge steroid buff, and the way that's working at the moment, it looks like it possibly offers full crowd control immunity as well. So yeah, she really is pretty insane, but once again she is a new hero and I've got a feeling they will overtune heroes when they come out, and once again if anything does change I'll put a pinned post at the top of the comments. Check that before you go spending any money on her, even after watching this video. But that's a quick overview of her. If you like the sounds of that, let's now check out the potential that's available for her. For this section here, rather than using the in-game UI to make it much easier to see the total potential she can actually gain, we've got an infographic here. A high-res version of it will be available in my Discord and there's a link to that in the description below. But when we talk about the potential here, it's something that in time, if you're maining a character, of course you want to max it out, but that can take a fair amount of time. So we're going to talk about priorities here now. The first stat I always go for, I would max out attack first, so you can see it down the bottom, you can get 286 attack on her. Certainly not a lot compared to other heroes, but what she can get, and it's absolutely incredible, if you check out the third column you can see every single one of the potential bonuses is hit points, which means she can get round about 22,000 hit points from potential, which is just absolutely insane. It's made even more insane, which we'll see in a moment when we talk about the specializations, because she has a way to convert our hit point pool into damage. So yeah, you want to go for that after going for attack. You've then got some other stats that can be quite nice depending on the build you're actually running. If you're going for a PvP setup, you want to get accuracy rate, so you're more likely to hit Spidey or characters with high dodge. Most characters have high dodge these days. And you can also go for the ultimate gauge recovery if you're looking for a build that will be based around that. Defense Pierce is also a really good stat to go for as well, but the priority would be attack, and then I would definitely go for hit points as well. But that is a potential. Let's now talk about the specializations. When it comes to the specializations, then you have to be really careful in what you invest in here, because one, you can only actually equip 4 specializations at a time, and 2, the currency to upgrade them is time gated, so you don't want to make any mistakes with this system. So we've got 3 trees in total. First one we look at is Sword Mastery. So you've got Soul Sword Enhance, increases attack by 20% for 6 seconds when using a Soul Sword class skill, cooldown of 12 seconds. 20% additional damage is amazing, but the fact that it only has 50% uptime really puts me off this particular one, so I don't see me going for this. Soul Control is next. Increased duration of status effects dealt to enemy by 30%. I don't see me going for this one either. Soul Rampage increases damage dealt to targets with 50% hit point or below by 25%. That's a whopping amount. I actually really like this one. I would go for that. You'll melt enemies once their hit points go below that 50% threshold. And then finishing up this tree, you've got Soul Absorption. So absorbs 3% of damage dealt using a Soul Sword class skill as hit points. Now, someone on my Discord was saying they've got a Soul Sword skill. They're not really leveled that high. They are about 700,000, which is decent, but they're not in the million range or anything like that. They have a Soul Sword skill that's actually hitting for 800,000, which means you would be getting round about 20-30,000 health back when you actually cast this skill. So this one looks like it definitely would be worthwhile as well. The next tree we have here is Domain Mastery. This one's pretty underwhelming. You've got Disc Leaper, so it increases stamina recovery. At the moment I'm saying it's 25%. This is only at level 1, but all the other tooltips you actually see at level 10. This one I can't actually work out what it would be at level 10 because I'm pretty sure it won't be 250%, but at level 1 it's 25% for 6 seconds when using a dodge skill. Personally, I've not been having any problems with stamina with Magik, so I don't really see the need for this, although it could tie in with the next one here, Limbo Control, that decreases all skill cooldowns by 10%. You'll be spamming your skills more often, which means you might be more likely to run into stamina issues. So they two are interlinked, but I can't really recommend either of them at the moment. Looking at Dark Disposition, increases attack, defense and hit points of Limbo subordinates by 30%. This seems like it would be nice, but the damage that comes from your summons is actually a percentage of your damage, so this increase will be a percentage of a percentage, so it won't actually be that high, so I wouldn't recommend this. Looking at Eldritch Enforcement, create a barrier equal to 25% of max hit points for 5 seconds when using a Limbo Ruler class skill. Cooldown 20 seconds. Now, because she's got a huge health pool, think back to the potential where she could get over 22,000 from that alone. You'll get a huge amount from this, but the fact that it only lasts for 5 seconds and it's got a 20-second cooldown, so you're looking at only 25% uptime in this. I can't recommend it for that reason. If the 25% would stay as a shield until it actually gets taken away from you, then this would be incredible. But as it stands, after 5 seconds, that extra 25% will drop off, even if you've not been hit, which makes this one a no-go for me. The final tree we have here is Mystic Mastery. This one is actually really pretty amazing. So you've got Survival Instinct, decreases damage received by 25%. I've got an asterisk next to this because once again this is at level 1. I'm not sure what it would be at level 10 because the way the scaling goes it couldn't go up to 250, but this will be increasing the damage received for 5 seconds when guard is broken. I can't really recommend this one. You don't want to get your guard broken in the first instance. Life Substitution is next. It converts 3% of hit points into attack. This will be really nice on her. You can gain survivability while at the same time actually gaining damage as well, so this is pretty awesome. We've then got Infinite Darkness, so it increases ultimate skill gauge recovery speed by 52.5% for 5 seconds when using a dark magic class skill. Cooldown of 8 seconds. This one is really nice and it'll really help out the builds that are all about getting the ultimate up as quick as you can. And then you've got Mystic Disposal, increases attack and hit point by 25% while transformed as the Dark Child. So this goes very nice alongside Infinite Darkness. So looking at them all in total, I would say there's 5 that I would say are worth looking at. You've got Soul Rampage and Soul Absorption, they're in the first tree, and then you've got Life Substitution, Infinite Darkness and Mystic Disposal in the last tree, the one that we just looked at there. So that's the specialisations. Let's now check out some of our skills. With the skills here, I'm not going to look at every single modifier because that would probably be a video on its own, but I'll look at some of the more interesting ones from each of the 3 different trees. The first one is the Soul Sword tree. The first skill, I'm showing this off because you can see guard break wise it has highest on it, and various of her skills actually have this, so she's really good at breaking the guard on enemies. The next one we have, this is only at level 1, I've kept all my skills at level 1 just so it's easier to actually compare them for this video, but when this is maxed out it does over 2000% damage. This is the one that was doing 800,000 damage on crit with a player that was only around about 900,000 power. Again, I say only 900,000, I know it's a lot, but some players are pushing much higher than that. The final one I'm showing off from this tree, I'm showing it off because it's got a knockdown when you land, you teleport to the enemy, and I believe it may have iframes in it as well, but I need to do a little bit more testing on it. But that is the Soul Sword tree. Let's have a look at the next one. The next class type we have here is Black Magik. The first set of abilities we have, all 4 of these actually apply a dot for 5 seconds when the skill lands. Maxed out, the damage is relative to 14% of attack per second. Looking at the highest rated Magik in my server at the moment, which is around about 900,000 power, it means their dots would be ticking for 3,200, which is not the largest amount, but it would certainly make you panic in PvP if you had that applied and you pulled back and your health was going low and it was continuing to tick down. So it could be useful that for applying a little bit extra pressure. The next one we have here, we'll check out all 4 modifiers because they're really pretty interesting. The first one decreases movement speed. The next one we'll look at confuses for 5 seconds when the skill lands. Confuse is pretty amazing. Doctor Strange has it. It's great in a Mega War and it's actually really good in PvE as well. It gives you a fair amount of breathing space. We've then got the Spider Killing skill. Cannot use dodge skills for 3 seconds. Drags when the skill lands. Of course, this is great on any enemies that have dodge, to be honest, but specifically Spider, this is just a way to counter them. And then the final one we have in this tree, mutate for 3.5 seconds. So you transmutate essentially the enemy into a weird pig-style demon. Looks pretty awesome, but the big problem with this that pulls it way down in efficiency is the fact that when you attack the enemy, it breaks them out your mutate status. They don't stay in that status while they're actually taking damage, which is a bit of a pity. But let's check out the next class tree. So this here is our summoning tree. The first ability we're looking at, we're showing this off because it applies a burn. So this particular status effect, the enemy will take increased damage for 6 seconds when you apply this. We then have a summon we can actually call in. So we summon Limbo Commander. What's great about this, the bottom line you'll notice says transfers 15% of damage received to summon allies for 15%. That's a huge damage reduction you can get. And then finally, the animation in this one looks amazing, but we're showing it off because it's got a 3-second stun, which is a decent amount as well, especially considering the cooldown. Now, to finish up the skills, I'm just going to very quickly show off the ultimate ability because it is actually really important on her. So the ultimate ability is a transform one, so it's quite similar to Captain Marvel, but the one difference is that it doesn't actually charge while you're using it. It will only start charging once the duration's over, so you can't get 100% uptime in this, but depending on your setup you could probably get a pretty high uptime, but you're not ever going to get 100% in this. But if you look at what it does, you become invincible for 3 seconds, it knocks down the enemy, it gives you immobility immunity. That appears to be crowd control immunity. Going up against Lofi with this active, I wasn't getting frozen at all. We've then got recovers hit points. In this instance at level 11 it's 37.9%, and bear in mind your health kits as your health gets higher won't heal a great amount, so getting a flat percentage of your health healed could actually be a huge amount. At later levels that could be about 50,000 health, for example, you're actually healing. You've then got decreases long range damage received, in this instance by 33%. That's huge in a Mega War where you've got various different enemies shooting at you from far away, and then you've got guard break high. It does damage as well, and if that wasn't enough, you get free exclusive abilities while you're using it. Now, I need to do some testing to find out if some of the better abilities you have as a main part of our kit can actually out damage this. I'm not quite sure. It does seem that your damage does bump up when you're using this, but again I need to do a little bit more testing. But looking at the first variant here, this one is just really a damage skill, but you can see it's over 1000%, and that's only at level 11. The next one we have, you decrease enemy movement speed and you increase damage received, in this instance by 24.7%. It is only for 3 seconds, which is a pretty low amount. And then finally you've got another skill here. It doesn't do a lot of damage, but you can see the guard break is on highest. So once again, once I have a bit more information on the DPS you're looking to do outside of this mode and when you're actually using it, and then I'll let you know. It'll probably be my build will be based around whether or not it's actually effective to try and get as much uptime in this as you actually can. But that's all the skills. Let's now talk about the outfits. So when it comes to outfits then, Magik is a bit of an oddity in the respect that heroes generally have access to 19 different outfits. Magiks only get access to 16, so that means some of our skill trees don't actually gain any buff at all, which is really pretty disappointing. Now, looking at our non-regional costumes, I always try and recommend one of them in these videos, but I can't actually recommend any. There's none that would buff skills that I would say are really worth going for. If at any point in the future this does change and you get a non-regional that buffs the Arcane Sword skill, this one will buff Soul Slash, which hits for an absolute ton, then that's the one you want to go for your non-regional. For your actual regional, I would recommend the Hydra Empire or the Zanderf one. You can see they both buff the Soul Sword class tree, which at the moment with the amount of playtime I've had, I would say this is the one that I'm going to go for. out of the two, if you could pick one over the other, go for the Hydra. That offers 11.6% crit rate over 11.6% defense pierce. Yes, defense pierce is nice, but it can't really compete with a flat crit rate. So that's the outfits. Let's now talk about the battle badges and Omega cards. So when it comes to the Mega cards and the battle badges, I used to do infographics for this, but honestly I think in hindsight it was maybe overcomplicating it a little bit. In regards to the Mega cards, there's certain ones that I would recommend straight away that you want to go for. You've got this one here, it provides you with ultimate gauge recovery. That's a fixed effect, so you're guaranteed to get it. This one here is tremendous on all heroes. So this is a fixed effect, and once again it's a flat crit rate. It's close to 10% flat crit rate you're getting, which is pretty amazing. The card I have on the end here, the reason I've got this here is because it allows you to see the various different exclusive stats you can actually get. The ones you're aiming for are really depending on whether or not you're a big PvE or PvP player. It really comes down to that, to be honest. But that's the Omega cards, nice and simple this section. So the two that would work great off the bat for the build would be Future Imperfect one here, and then this Captain America one here as well. In regards to the battle badges, what I would actually mention as well, I used to get into different badges you could get from the Dark Zone and so on, but I don't think there's any need to do that. What I would just recommend when you're getting your battle badges, stat wise, look out for the likes of attack, crit rate, dodge and ultimate recovery. They can all be really nice on her. Now we'll actually just finish up with a potential build idea that I've been playing around with. So this setup here is one I've been running around with in the first day or so we're playing it. I will come up with a more in-depth build guide in the next few days where everything's theory crafted, but this is just something to point you in the right direction and give you a little bit of fun to start off with her. So looking at this one here, we start off a rotation by applying a burn. Now this ability is pretty amazing, so it's down to you which one you actually use. This hits 3 times and it tracks. Go for that or go for the burn. Both of them are really pretty good. But we follow up with a gap closer here with some potential iframes. Following on from that, we then have another soul sword ability. This is the one that does over 2000% damage. I reckon you'll be hitting for over 1 million with this once you actually level her up enough. The next one we have another soul sword ability. This one has got the highest guard break. That's the reason we're going for that. And then the final one, this is our oh shit button, in that if you see a particular enemy that might be difficult, you can cast this. It'll pull a little bit aggro, but what it'll do is it'll take 15% of the damage received by you and transfer it to this particular ally as well. So that's the build setup I'd be running. I would use the Hydra Empire outfit for this. Specialization wise, the 3 that I would probably go for, I would go for the absorbs 3% of damage with soul sword class skills, because we're using 3 of them. Converts 3% of hit point into attack because we're getting close to them, because we're like a melee character with this setup. And then increased damage dealt to targets below 50% by 25% additional damage. I wouldn't have any ultimate specializations just yet, just the reason being I need to do a bit more testing to find out if it's worth trying to go into that ultimate form as soon as you can. But that is the beginner's guide and everything you need to know for Magik. If the video has been helpful, please do take the time to hit the like, share and subscribe button, and thanks for tuning in. Stay safe and I'll see you all again soon.